What's up, party people? You remember the Forgotten Gialli box set, Volume 1? Well, today, we're going to be talking about the Forgotten Gialli box set, Volume 2. Damn, there's some nice boobies in this one. Welcome to the party, pal. Your For the Neighborhood Mastercast, back with you once again. Thank you for joining me. I hope this video finds you well. We're going to be talking Forgotten Gialli box set, Volume 2. Vinegar Syndrome puts out some of the best stuff to collect. This is the gorgeous box set. 3 movies in here. As a matter of fact, let's take a closer look. That's a little better. Let's crack this puppy open. It has 3 films inside, which I'm going to be going into detail on. This box set is worth the price of admission alone. Now, I know. It's the movies that matter. I know. I'm 100% with you. But packaging has become such an important part of collecting that it's almost like if you don't package it right, what's the point of putting it out? At least nowadays, because collectors are in it, honestly, for the shelf, for the appeal, the shelf aesthetic. I've never heard of any of these movies, so I didn't buy them for the movie. I bought them because they came in this really pretty box, and I was promised a good time, and for the most part, I got a good time. I'm going to review them individually in a second. Let me just show you what comes in this box set. French Sex Murders. I'm going to put these aside for 1 second. Girl in Room 2A here. Looks very lascivious. I switched the covers, by the way. They're all reversible. And My Dear Killer. Let me show you the inside, because that's always a fun thing to see. Let me find the camera here. Sorry about that. This is My Dear Killer, and yes, it is a reversible slip. This is Room 2A. I flipped the cover on this. That wasn't... I thought this was kind of a plain version. I flipped the cover on that because I like the like that kind of like giallo novel. That's the one that it comes with when you first pull it out of the box. But I really love this because it reminds me of an old, an old giallo book kind of cover. That's kind of what you would see if you bought if you actually bought gialli, in in Italy. So we're going to kick things off with, I'm going to go with my number 1, my favorite in the set. Mio Caro Assassino, also known as the amazing My Dear Killer, is a fantastic giallo procedural. As a matter of fact, it's probably the best giallo procedural I've ever seen. Now, here's the thing. In a lot of gialli films, Italian crime films, the procedural stuff is usually the boring stuff. We usually just want to get past the cop stuff. Let's just get to the kills, right? Well, I'm gonna tell you what, pal. The procedural stuff in this is so good and so compelling that it's almost, it doesn't work without the procedural stuff. The whole movie is essentially a murder mystery. It starts with this really great opening kill. There's actually a picture on the Vinegar Syndrome site that's a spoiler for that kill, so don't look through the pictures. I'm not going to show it to you here, don't worry. But the film opens with this amazing kill. I have no idea how they pull it off, and that leads into a murder mystery, trying to figure out who killed this individual and why, and that opens up to another missing persons case and another murder involving a little girl who was kidnapped, and who was responsible for that, and why was the guy who was killed investigating that murder. There's a lot of intrigue, there's a lot of back and forth with the plot, but it's never boring, it's never dull, and the best part is it's easy to follow. A lot of these you get kind of lost, like, wait, what are we doing now? Who was that guy again? This one's easy to follow, it's very clear, it's very concise, and there's kills throughout, and it also packs a very powerful ending. Sad, but very powerful ending that, honestly, I haven't experienced a satisfying giallo like that in such a long time. So it was so refreshing. And I've never seen this movie before, so I'm so happy that as a forgotten gialli, I was able to rediscover it thanks to Vinegar and enjoy it. And this is actually one that I'm going to rewatch. I never thought I would say that about gialli. Usually it's a one and done unless it's like, a really great one. To me, it's probably the best gialli that Vinegar Syndrome has ever released. 5 stars, hands down. This movie is such a blast. It's so much fun to watch. Yes, there's nudity. There's lots of kills. There's lots of gory kills. Like, especially the one I'm showing you right now with this saw blade thing That scene is fantastic. It also features on the cover here. Let me put this together. This is from My Dear Killer. So that saw kill does happen in the movie, and it's really great. Now, at the beginning of the movie, they mentioned that there was an issue with the print where some frames are missing throughout the movie. I didn't notice anything. It didn't jump out at me as anything that was an issue. Honestly, even forgot about it until I was putting the review together. I'm like, oh, right. It mentions something about missing frames. It doesn't affect the viewing experience whatsoever. Lots of fun stuff. You have a 45-minute interview with the writer, which is always good to hear from the screenwriter. And then an archival interview with George Hilton, who's the star of the film, and director Tonino Valeri as well. This is archival, so keep that in mind. It's a little older. But that's it in terms of special features, but good enough to kind of give you a well-rounded appreciation of the film. And like I said, it's the crown jewel so far for me of the entire, all six Forgotten Gialli releases. I don't want to say it's the worst in the box set, but it's my least favorite in the box set by a long shot, and that is La Casa de la Paura, also known as The Girl in Room 2A. It doesn't really work as a traditional giallo, but sorry, I keep getting those mixed up. Giallo. But what it does do is it presents us with the first giallo directed by an American, which, by the way, already to me, that's not a giallo. I'm sorry. I will allow Spanish films to be considered giallos. I'll allow it. But when an American is involved, I'm sorry, man. It just doesn't feel right to me. I'm going to mention something at the end, too, about all these three movies that make them feel less giallo than specifically the ones in part one, in set one. I'll mention that at the end, so stay tuned for that. This one's going to blow your minds when I tell you what these movies are lacking. The Girl in Room 2A is sadly a very slow story that's not really a giallo. It's a good story, I'll be honest. It's a pretty decent story, but it's told in such a boring, lifeless, meandering way. And the movie really isn't anything until the last 10 minutes, where it really kind of picks up and becomes exciting and, full of suspense and kills and, rescues and things like that. But the movie itself is essentially about a cult that tortures women, and that's it. Nothing is explained of why they do that, who they are they just rich people, are they Satanists? We're not really sure what happens or why it happens. This is the hero, by the way. This is the girl who was released from prison. And she meets up with this guy who's looking for his sister, who was apparently killed by the cult in the opening credits. And this is the cult leader's this dude in the red, the red hood here, for better or worse. And they go investigate, slowly and methodically and plotlessly until about the last 10 minutes when things get pretty gooey. The movie itself is very dull. I love the main actress. I think she's a great actor. She really brings in all her effort and all her energy. But overall, the movie is kind of a bummer as far as I'm concerned. And if you're looking for more info on the movie, that's kind of a bummer as well. And I would imagine it's probably hard to put together specials for these kind of movies that are forgotten about. This has an 11-minute archival interview with the actress Daniela Giordano, who is the main girl in the film. And then an 18-minute audio essay by Rachel Nesbitt. Those are hard. Audio essays, it's played over, stills of the movie and things like that. Those are kind of boring to me. I don't know. It is what it is. Not many special features. Pretty forgettable movie overall. This is one of those where I can understand why this was forgotten. It doesn't really add anything new. This one gets 2 stars, and I'm being very generous with that rating. Next up is the luridly titled The French Sex Murders, and you would think this is the best in the bunch. I was really hoping it would be. Fortunately, it is not. This is a film that started off really, really strong. And just semantically, if I can get into nitpicking for a minute, there's only one French sex murder. Technically, it's the one that kicks off the movie. All the other murders are sort of the killer trying to clean up his mess. So I wouldn't necessarily call those all sex murders, although they do a few of them involve people having sex or post-coitus murders. But there really is only one French sex murder, and that's what sort of kicks things off. And the person that is murdered, unfortunately, and this is not a spoiler because this is the first 10 minutes of the movie, is my favorite actress, my favorite Gialli actress, Barbara Boucher. The beautiful Barbara Boucher is in this movie. And man, She gets killed right off the bat, unfortunately. And also another bummer. I'm going to be a little sexist. I do apologize. We don't get to see her naked. She's been naked in every movie she's ever made, except in this one where she plays a prostitute who has sex with a guy before getting killed. That's weird. It's weird. But yeah, Barbara Boucher gets taken out. She is the French sex murder that, touches off a series of events. This movie, however, does have a really great cast. A really amazing cast. I mean, it's got Howard Vernon, Roselle Vaneri, Barbara Boucher. A really amazing cast. I would say the first 30 minutes of this movie are really solid entertainment and pretty much non-stop action up until the 30-minute mark where something so shocking happens. So shocking that my jaw dropped. I'm like, what the fuck? Where is this movie going? How can this movie proceed any further? I'm not going to say what it is. Shocking moment that throws the movie for a loop and essentially stops it for a good portion of the time, because now, as the audience, we're left in limbo. Like, wait a minute, so movie's over, right? I mean, what else could there be to do? Turns out quite a bit, but what we do get is a very unclear plot with meandering side stories that don't coalesce into a linear whole until maybe the last 5 minutes of the movie when the killer is revealed. And honestly, mileage may vary whether you buy the killer theory or not. It's kind of a stretch, but I feel the movie does enough to kind of get away with it, and you kind of forgive it. All right, I let it go. I'll let it go. You're telling me that's the killer and this is what happened? All right, I'll let it go. It feels very coincidental, but fine. I'll let you have this one, movie. Plot-wise, what we have here is a Bogart wannabe, and I'm not kidding. That guy in the trench coat is our main detective, and he's a dead ringer for Bogey, and I'm sure that was the point. I don't know why. It feels very much like he's in a spoof movie at sometimes, even the way he talks. Like, wait a minute, is this supposed to be like a joke? Like, is he a comic relief? It's very strange. It's a very strange choice to have him be so much like Bogart. But anyway, this Bogart wannabe is on the hunt for a killer in a hoodie who is taking out people related to the original French sex murder. And also what you have here is a bunch of subplots in search of structure. And it doesn't really all coalesce or make sense until the last 5 minutes. And like I said, you may or may not buy into what the movie offers as its final solution. Also, something weird that the movie does is whenever somebody gets killed, it's repeated like 5 times but in different colors. So it'll be like, ah, 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 ah. Seems like a very arbitrary choice, and to be honest, it takes the teeth out of the kills, in my opinion. Overall, the movie is pretty meh, but because of the twist and a couple of the actors in the film, I'm going to be very generous. I'm going to give this one 3 stars. 3 stars for this one. It's not great, but it's definitely better than any of the ones in Volume 1, to be honest. I would rather rewatch this one than any of these. Sad to say, but the good news is they're getting better. That's great. Special features-wise, you have a audio commentary here with Sam and Kat. Also, a 32-minute featurette on producer Dick Randall, which is so fun, so energetic, so lively. Feels very sleazy and grindy, and just a ton of fun. And honestly, those 32 minutes are the best 32 minutes in this entire volume. Well, that's my review of Forgotten Gialli Volume 2 from Vinegar Syndrome. I'm very happy to have the box. You know, it's one of those things where I wasn't planning on getting the first one, but I had a subscriber send it to me, you know, which is really nice. Thank you again, George Lopez. I really appreciated this. He sent this to me. He says, I didn't really like it, but I think you'd get a kick out of it. Maybe you can review it on the show, and I did. I'll link that review so you guys can check that out if you've missed that. And once they announced a Volume 2, I'm like, dang it. Well, now I have to get the collection, and now that I'm a subscriber, I'm going to get Volume 3, which, by the way, Volume 3 is coming out in February, so keep an eye out for that one. Once the news drops and details on that drop, I'm going to bring them to you here on Mastercast TV. They did announce one title for the third box, and I'm going to tell you what that is in a minute. But before I do that, please remember to subscribe. Mastercast comes at you daily with your daily dose of movie love. I had such a great time meeting you today that I'd love for us to hang out again. It would be a tragedy if we didn't get a chance to chat movies. And please, I respond to every comment. So drop me a comment. Let me know if you have the box set, if you're planning on getting it. I'd love to get your opinion. I'd love to get your take on the release and all that fun stuff. Now, one thing I forgot to mention that I told you I was going to wait till the end that made this whole box set feel less gialli than the first one anyway. In 3 movies where people are drinking alcohol, nobody, are you ready for this? Nobody drinks J&B. There is hide nor hair of J&B in all 3 of these movies. I did, and I was looking for it. I was drinking my J&B. I was like, oh, right, I can't wait to see J&B so I can take a drink every time I see it. I didn't see any. If there's one in there, let me know. But I watched these movies like an eagle. Like an eagle. Well, unless they got boring, then I didn't eagle it so much. But you know what I mean. No J&B. What the hell? You can't call these gialli. I'm sorry. You can't. Now, they did announce a movie for the Volume 3 box set. Let's check that out. The film that was announced was Mansión de la Niebla here, which I believe is a Spanish film, maybe a Mexican film. I don't know much about it. It's apparently called The Murder Mansion. However, there is some debate as to what the actual title is or was, or sort of how it was mispronounced. I mean, Niebla means fog, so it would be the Mansion of Fog or the Fog Mansion. And you can see sort of kind of a foggy look on the poster there. So who knows? I love this artwork, and I really hope it's featured in the box set. Since you stuck around till the end, I'm going to tell you what tomorrow brings. Are you ready for this? I am going on a shopping spree. I have never bought anything from 88 Films, the UK distributor. But tomorrow, you and I are going to go shopping. I'm starting my Jackie Chan Blu-ray collection. They've got some amazing releases of Jackie movies that I've never even seen. I've heard of them, but I've never been able to get my hands on them. I am now going to definitely bulk up my Blu-ray Jackie Chan collection and start my 88 Films collection. I want you to come shopping with me, so that'll be tomorrow. I hope to see you there. I'll be here, and, well, I'll reserve a seat for you. Okay, my friend, I'm going to bid you adieu. Remember, your friendly neighborhood Mastercast loves you just the way you are. Be grateful for every moment of your life. You are special. Remember that. And remember that I remain to be continued.